How will ETH ETF launch impact Bitcoin's momentum? Hey guys, it's Keith Allen, and we have something brand new happening here. Obviously, coming up next week, the Ethereum ETFs are scheduled to hit the market, and that has great potential to kind of change the dynamic of what we've been seeing here in Bitcoin price action. So in this analysis, I'm going to do something a little bit different. We're going to actually look at an ETH chart. We're going to look at ETH. We're going to look at Bitcoin. We're going to look at the ETH BTC chart. And also look at some news that can really have an impact on what's going on here. So, we have the ETH ETFs scheduled to hit the market on Tuesday. Not surprising that Bitcoin has been wrestling with these key moving averages here this week. Of course, at the moment, making a nice push up against that 21-week moving average, potentially to clear it here. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But a lot of speculation of whether the ETH ETFs are going to suffer a similar fate that the Bitcoin ETH Spot ETFs did at their onset. And while there are some great similarities, namely that there's been quite a bit of pent-up demand for those, and that Grayscale in particular is converting a prior product into these ETFs, that's where things broke down on the Bitcoin ETF, right? So we can all remember that Grayscale had those huge 2.5% management fees, and those holders literally went running for the door to the tune of nearly $19 billion to date. Exited Grayscale's assets under management from that. Now, we're seeing some new reporting that says that, hey, they might be doing something different here. So the first thing I want to show you here is an article that actually just came out today. Let me go ahead and share a screen, and we'll look at charts too while we're at it. We'll get into all the good stuff. Okay, so if we share the screen here, actually, since I have this chart up, this kind of speaks to the theme of what I'm thinking of right here. This is the Bitcoin, the ETH Bitcoin chart, and as you can see, a bit of a breakdown seems to be happening right now, meaning strength on Ethereum, weakness on Bitcoin. Although both seem to be pumping at the moment. But on this particular pair, you can see a breakdown from this structure is something interesting here. That means, in my opinion, that money could be potentially rotating from Bitcoin into Ethereum or potentially other alts, which are positioning themselves as well. And if we look at the ETH chart, we can see the strength that it's had for quite some time, right? Even despite the dips, it managed to stay above the 0.5 fib, and has now reclaimed the 0.618 on this golden retrace, and that's a macro move, by the way, from the all-time high down to the swing low. So this is a significant move here that positions Ethereum to potentially go back to revisit all-time high territory at some point. You can also see that it is cleared some of the hurdles in the key moving averages that Bitcoin has been dealing with. It's dealt with the 21-day moving average, and now fighting up here around the 50-day moving average on the weekly schedule. It also just cleared that 21 on this particular candle here, and seems to be trying to hold there. So a close above that this week is obviously going to be a sign of strength here. We'll just have to see how that unfolds as the weekend unfolds. And again, those ETFs scheduled for Tuesday. Now look at the Bitcoin chart. You can see also similarly right now, as we speak, going after the 21-week moving average. We had a bit of drama here the past couple of days where we retested support at the 50-day, and now find ourselves back above it and trying to reclaim that 21-week moving average. So, I'm going to get into what this means here in terms of the weekly close in a bit, but I want to go back to the article I had mentioned, which states that everybody was wondering whether, if Grayscale is going to have these huge fees again, are we going to see a mass exodus of ETH outflows from their current product is the ETH trust, Ethereum trust, which is exactly what happened with the GBTC Bitcoin trust, which converted into the Bitcoin Spot ETF. This ETH is also converting. However, they're introducing a new product. It's the ETH Mini, and this is where things are going to get interesting. They actually may have learned something on this last experience where they bled just tremendously. Now, granted, they made money through that whole process, right? They made fees on that money. So maybe that was part of their revenue plan. Maybe that was part of their plan to scale back and generate revenue out of that position. Nonetheless, despite losing nearly 19 billion in assets under management, they did make hundreds of millions in fees along the way of that. They made hundreds of millions in revenue. So what we're seeing in this article, it basically says, this is from Crypto Slate, which says that now with this new Ethereum mini trust, they're slashing fees to 0.15%. That's the lowest in the industry. But they also still have this this 2.5% mega ETH spot ETF. So going to be interesting to see how that dynamic works, right? And this is actually a chart of all the ETH products that are about to come to market, with Grayscale having both the largest, highest fees at 2.5% on the ETH and the lowest fees on the ETH Mini here. Now, they're also saying that they're going to waive fees, so 0% for the first 6 months or until they reach 2 million in assets under management on this ETH Mini. But you got to read the fine print. Okay, they're also in this process, and maybe this is part of how they're going to lure customers into another product rather than run them out the door. They are going to seed this ETH Mini with 10% of the AUM here on the ETH ETF. Well, they have 10 million or 10 billion rather in holdings there already. So if they're going to put 10% of that in there, that's already $1 billion. So they got $1 billion to go before they cap that zero fee promotional offer. Still, even after that, very, very low at 0.15%, and the market best. So I think that's going to put, the general thought here is that is going to quell some of that exodus, quell some of those outflows, and so maybe this does not suffer the same fate that the Bitcoin ETFs did. So that remains to be seen. One way we'll be able to tell if like a lot of these people, I'm wondering, and I don't know the answer to this. I don't know if these investors can just transfer into the ETH Mini without incurring more penalties or fees. If they can, that would make sense, right? If they can, that's really going to go a long way towards quelling the loss of AUM. So we'll be watching to see if there's a kind of a proportional switch between what this reduces and how much this increases here in the weeks to come. So that's kind of what I'm watching here in terms of the ETH flow, right? So again, I think it's reasonable to speculate that we could see some money rotating, maybe assets that were previously allocated into Bitcoin or for Bitcoin, working its way into ETH, and that is again a bit speculative. So what are we going to do, right? We're gonna not lean on speculation. We're going to lean on the charts, like we always do, to see if we can pick up better clues as to how things are going to develop. And in my opinion, what I expect to happen here is we're just going to continue to watch these same key levels that we've been watching. This breakdown to me is indicative of exactly what I'm saying is quite likely to happen. High probability, in my opinion, that we'll see this continue to happen here. That could mean an opportunity until things level out, right? So in terms of Bitcoin and its momentum, so let's just say that we continue this move right here. And this move, pretty interesting to see what's behind this. If we look at fire charts, we can see that this red class of sharks has just all of a sudden started buying in mass, like high volume, very, very quickly. I want to take this to the I got to refresh this. Sorry. I want to take this to the absolute CVD so we can see exactly how much. I mean, look at this. It's like almost a vertical line right here. If we take it down to the daily, we can see how quickly this happened, right? This is now, let's see, let's switch to absolute so we can see the actual cash value of this move. So they were down at about, we'll call it negative 30 million, and now up to 44 million. So that's 70, almost 75 million, 74 million in how much time? This is 15, 20, 2 hours, 74 million in market orders in 2 hours. That's well, that's whales using this class, obviously. That's mega whales using this class. That's institutional buying using this order class to push price up. We're trying to minimize the slippage along the way, but man, there was a lot of movement here from the 64K level up to 66. And interestingly, if we go over to the ETH chart, we're going to see pretty much the same move, maybe not the same volume, but a very similar move here, and that they went from 12.5 million up to 32.5 million. So a $20 million move, $20 million buy coming in quick. Now look at this wall that just showed up, 18 million, trying to knock it back down here. Possibly looking for some better opportunities, not wanting ETH price to get away from the market before that ETF launches on Tuesday. This is really interesting to me. So that's something to keep in mind here, right? So let's go back to the Bitcoin chart. So what I was saying here is, we're hovering right around this 21-week moving average. That's been a key level that I've been watching here, obviously, for a long time. And so if we do indeed close, if we don't close above this, this week, then obviously that's an indication that we're just going to range here longer. And that would make sense, especially if ETH is surging, okay, at this time. But let's say that we do nose above the 21-week and get a weekly close above that. I wouldn't go all in at that point because of this situation with ETH coming in next week. This could be another classic fake out, right? We want to see full candles above this 21-week before we have some confidence that we're going higher, right? And so in that instance, I would think that maybe what we could possibly see happen is, let's say we get a weekly close above this 21, and I want to get a price for that just to give you some merit. So we're almost at 65,448 at the moment. So we're not even $100 above it right now. Okay. So let's just say hypothetically, right, if it doesn't make it, then obviously we're going to chop here a little bit longer. If it does make it above here, here's what I'm looking at next week, right? Next week, with those ETH ETFs opening on Tuesday, is Bitcoin still going to have the strength to go up above this 69K level and then start working on taking out these prior highs? That remains to be seen. And my assumption is it's going to be a real struggle, right? So we could potentially see price fade back below that 21-week moving average. So that's the level I'm watching super, super close as we move into next week. Now, if we end next week above that 21-week moving average, then we're really positioned for a strong monthly close, I should say. And then we eye up this 2021 top, 69K. That's what I want to see happen here, right? So then the next thing I'm looking at, as trying to determine whether this breakout attempt is going to continue to develop with momentum, is whether, first, can we RS flip this 21-week moving average, and then can we RS flip this 2021 top at 69K? We had a lot of drama up at that level, many rejections. This is on the weekly. There's dozens of them on the daily. So this is the flip that I want to see happen. That gives me confidence that Bitcoin would then have the strength to go after the all-time high. So first we flip the 21-week moving average, then we need to flip the 2021 top at 69K. Once we flip that 2021 top at 69K, I believe it's game on to grind into starting to make higher highs and then go after the all-time high. That's what I'm looking at. This could obviously change. I mean, I'll be honest with you. When I first started this analysis this morning, when I started looking at the charts and writing it, Bitcoin had not made this run into the 21 week. And now you see it's kind of struggling to hold it here at this point. So that kind of makes sense. I think a lot of the story is told right here on this ETH BTC chart, as you see a breakdown happening, which indicates more strength on ETH, less strength on Bitcoin. That could also set you up to identify some alts that are coming off of double-digit drawdowns. Some of them coming from all-time lows and positioning themselves to make some runs. But I would be careful. You just want to make sure that they are not continuing to degrade, that they are setting themselves for breakout or even at breakout before you get too aggressive. Going to leave it right there. Of course, none of that is advice. As I always forget to say at the top of this thing, do me a favor. If you like the streams, please smash all the buttons, share a comment, and definitely subscribe so you don't miss any of the live analysis. As things develop over the weekend and into next week, I will always, as always, do my best to keep you guys updated, but hope I'm giving you something to marinate on as we move into the weekend. I want to take one more look at the order book for Bitcoin, actually, and see if we might identify some guardrails coming in for the weekend. I should just refresh because I'm sitting there for a long time. Right now, we have this block at 63K. We see what's above. That's pretty low time frame deal here on the weekly. Let's see if it looks any different. If we zoom out a little bit and filter out some of those lows, we can see really the strength looking here, that 63K level. Hopefully that holds. And if it does, I think we're still in a really good position to start eroding at this, pending, of course, what happens with this ETH ETF. Going to wrap it right there, guys. Hope I gave you something to marinate on over the weekend. As always, use the opportunity to spend some time doing what you love with the people you love here this weekend. Life is short. Life is sweet. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for following.